Coming up on Oakdale Update, we'll chat with the president of the Taxpayers League of Minnesota, Ted Lilly. We'll visit a new business in the city, and we'll find out who the Volunteer of the Year is in Oakdale. Stay tuned. Oakdale Update is straight ahead. Hello, and welcome to Oakdale Update. I'm your host, Frank Orsello. This is the City of Oakdale's news and information program about your community. The Taxpayers League of Minnesota is a nonpartisan, nonprofit, grassroots group advocacy organization which fights for lower taxes, limited government, and full empowerment of the tax-paying citizens in accordance with the constitutional principles. I'm joined now by the president of the Taxpayers League of Minnesota, Ted Lilly. That's a mouthful, Ted.
That is. Hello, Frank.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update today.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Now, okay, so let's talk about yourself to start with. Tell me about yourself and your family and this sort of thing.
Sure. Frank, I'm Ted Lilly, and I've lived in the area here for all my life. I run Lilly Suburban Newspapers along with my partner, Jeff Enright, my co-publisher. We've been in business since 1938. We have 12 local publications, including the Oakdale Lake Elmo Review here in Oakdale. My wife, Lynn, is a family doctor, family medicine, and she's currently working in Red Wing at the Mayo Clinic systems down there. We have two children. Our daughter, Christina, lives on the east side of St. Paul, and they have a son. Christina and Pat have a son, George. So our grandson, we have a lot of fun with him. And my son, Theodore, is a chiropractor in Portland, Oregon.
You know, I didn't know that. I didn't know he graduated and was already working, huh?
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's wonderful. And I know you have lived in the area for a long time. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, that is correct. And really love the area. There's so much to offer. The school system is great, and we just have so much to do. And in the newspaper business, we're working with a lot of small businesses, local businesses, and covering the news of what's happening in the community.
Okay, aside from all that, I know you're very busy doing that too, but you also are very active in the community.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure.
And when I say community, I mean North St. Paul, Oakdale, Maplewood?
Yes, yes.
Go ahead.
Frank, I've been very active in the community for my whole career, really focusing on youth and trying to help them succeed, help young people succeed in life. Worked on starting a foundation called Co-Action Academic Resources, which is a scholarship program. And in the last 10 years, we've given out $500,000 in scholarships to area high school seniors and returning adults. And I work with a great group of people that have done a great job with Co-Action. Also, I'm a past president, as are you, of the Oakdale Business and Professional Association. Great organization, leading the business community in Oakdale, working on a number of different areas. And like so many, I've chaired or participated in almost every event, everything that we have done in the community. So those are a couple of the things that I've done.
You know, and don't you feel being president of the OBPA, didn't that help you? I mean, I know it did me. Elevate yourself, I think, in your personal feelings?
Oh, absolutely. The Oakdale Business Association really is an opportunity for individuals, be they employees or leaders of a business, to grow their skill set and to create an opportunity that they can succeed and champion and move forward with their careers in really a very good way to pay back the community for what it offers to us.
Absolutely. I think you look at all the other presidents, I think they all probably would say the same thing.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so moving on. So you were recently appointed, not run or elected, you were appointed president of the Taxpayers League. Okay, first of all, tell us what and who and what is the Taxpayers League, okay?
All right, great. Well, you already read basically our mission statement or our background, and the Taxpayers League of Minnesota has been around for about 12 years, and we are a champion of the taxpayers. And what our goal is to find ways to have limited government, effective government, and to find ways to have the tax rates be reduced or at reasonable levels for the people of Minnesota. We believe in the free enterprise system, that people succeed best, have opportunities to succeed in an environment where they are succeeding in their business or in their profession, and that limited government is important. It's important to have government. We're not saying that no government. There are services that the government needs to provide and should provide, but let's find our most effective ways to deliver those services and try to hold our rates as low as possible. Because really, every time that we tax somebody, we're taking money from them to pay somebody else. So it basically is affecting your freedom. When you earn that money and you give it to the government, your freedom is reduced. So there are reasons that we have government. We need to continue to have government, but at the same time, let's find ways to have it be as effective and cost efficient as we possibly can.
And what you're saying is that I pay in taxes, but then I lose control of it, don't I?
That's right.
So that's
right.
where you people come in, hopefully.
People work very hard for their money,
Absolutely.
and they work hard to provide for their families and things like that. And every time that we take those dollars away, we're taking away their opportunity to provide for their future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now your group is a nonpartisan group, is
Yes.
that right?
That is correct.
Could
that
you
is
tell
correct.
us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we are nonpartisan. We do not take political sides. Basically, what we do is we evaluate our elected officials based on how they do for the taxpayers of Minnesota. And really, it's not about the tax dollars, it's about the people. The people of Minnesota, we want to see them succeed and prosper. So to do that, we believe that limited government is the way to accomplish that. So what we focus on is our grassroots. We work with people around the state of Minnesota, not just in the metro area, but around the state, to find ways to help work with their local elected officials and their legislative leaders and the governor to deliver government in the most effective manner possible.
So do you pick a battle, different battles, or how do you decide what you're going to go after?
Well, a lot of what we do is strategized over the long term. So the tax policy that the legislature puts together and the governor works on, that is something that we're engaged in every time. Mm-hmm. But then there are things that come up throughout time that affect taxpayers also. So we'll start to work on those types of issues.
Okay. Okay, and let's talk about one particular thing. Your people have been very vocal about in your opposition to the Viking Stadium. Mm-hmm. You want to tell us why that is? That particular battle that you're fighting.
Yes. Well, I bleed purple. I want the Vikings to win as much as anybody else. I want Adrian Peterson to be the MVP. I want us to solve our quarterback problem. I want the best coach. I want us to win. But that being said, I think that we need to remember that the Vikings are a corporation. They're a company. And the owners of the Vikings are in a very elite crowd, very elite club. 40% of the NFL owners are in the Forbes 400 top richest people in the country. Mm-hmm. So when we created this stadium bill, when the governor came to the legislature and said, this is the bill that we want, basically what we said is, well, let's find a way to have the people of Minnesota be a partner in this instead of a pawn. Okay, and that's what happened in this bill that we have in front of us. The people of Minnesota are being asked to pay for virtually everything, and yet they're not given any of the benefits. And I'll give you a couple examples. When the legislature and the governor first said, let's pay for the stadium, let's do it with electronic pull tabs. And they said, let's put all these machines across the state of Minnesota. They were going to have 15,000 bars that had them, only 300 do. They were going to have 30,000 of the pull tab machines, and there are only a couple thousand now. Mm-hmm. The revenues, even the governor says this has been a disaster, that the revenues were never there. And what they were saying is that they were going to build a revenue stream from electronic pull tabs that virtually was at the same level as the tribal casinos in Minnesota in a matter of a couple months. Mm-hmm. Well, anybody knows that wasn't possible. Yep. So again, what happened is, since that did not work, they had to come up with other ways to pay for the stadium. And the next way was through cigarette taxes. And cigarette taxes are very regressive. So here we have a very progressive governor. He states that he's progressive, and yet he's charging a high tax to very low-income people to pay for a billionaire stadium. And that's not equitable, it's not fair, it's not the right way to do it. And that also is not paying for itself, it's not meeting the numbers that they said. So now they need to look at the next evolution of how to pay for the stadium, and that is basically they're going to go back to the general fund. Well, if we go to the general fund to pay for the stadium, then we're taking money from education, from health care, from everything else that the stadium, that the taxes should be paying for.
Which means that I'm paying more for it than they are.
Yes,
almost.
Exactly.
Relatively
And Frank, the other thing is that when I talk about a partner versus a pawn, virtually every chip of how to pay for the stadium that had been utilized across the country to pay for other stadiums have gone to the Wilfs instead of to the people of Minnesota. So when they have naming rights for $100 million, that's going to the Wilfs. When you have seat licenses, that's going to the Wilfs. And the governor said that he wasn't aware that this was in the bill. Well, he knew it was in the bill. Sure. It was highly negotiated, and he put the bill together in the first place. So basically all we're saying is on the stadium, we want the Vikings here, we want them to succeed, we love the entertainment value of them, but they are a corporation, and we need to find a way to protect the taxpayers of Minnesota to make this fair and equitable in how we're paying for it.
Sure. Okay, now I want to get back to the league itself. Would you consider this a lobbyist group?
It's an advocacy group.
Okay.
We advocate on behalf of the citizens of Minnesota, the taxpayers of Minnesota. So there is a component of it that we may lobby in that way, but I would not say that's the major focus.
Okay, but that's just more of an organized way of getting your ideas to the legislature and that sort of thing, right?
Yes. Once we listen to the citizens of Minnesota, our supporters, once we listen to them and hear what they say, then we present their ideas to the legislature.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Where do you get your funds? I mean, obviously you need funds to run, as does everybody.
Yes.
So where do you get your funds?
Well, our funding basically comes, again, from the people of Minnesota. When they hear our advocacy, when they hear what we're working on, they are very supportive of that, and that is where we get our funds. From local donations, we get them online from our website, taxpayersleague.org, and there's a place there that people can donate. But that is basically where we get our funds, is again, we're very grassroots focused, and that's where our monies come from.
Okay. Okay, so we're just about out of time, but I just got at least one question left here. As the president now, what are your goals for and this is not a limited time, you're president for however, you were elected by the board of directors.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so what are your goals as the president?
Well, the Taxpayers League of Minnesota, it's very important for the taxpayers to have a group that will advocate on their behalf, that will be the champion of the taxpayer. We are going to look for ways to help our government be more efficient in its delivery of services. And one of the goals that we have is we've always worked very hard to represent taxpayers at the legislature, but we're also going to look at local government, our city, county, and school districts, and provide tools to advocates, to local people, to hold their local elected officials accountable. One of the things that we're very fortunate about is in Oakdale, we have very reasonable taxes. We have very good government services. Washington County is the second lowest taxed county in the state. So again, we have very reasonable government services in our community here, but we always want to provide the tools to the grassroots, to the people that are paying attention to this, to make sure that they can talk with their legislators and their elected officials in a manner that is good.
So if somebody has a complaint, or they want something done, and they think that your group, would they contact you and talk to you about it?
Yes, again, taxpayersleague.org is the best way to contact our organization. Frank, we also have something called the Taxpayers Rally, and that is in April of every year, and we'll have that again this year. We have a national speaker come in, and we've had thousands of people that participate in that. It's generally at the Capitol. There's construction happening at the Capitol this year, so we may hold it someplace else, but that is one of our major events each year.
That's great. That is great. Well, Ted, I'm afraid we're out of town here. Geez, time. We could talk for another half hour at least about this, huh?
Yes.
Very interesting subject.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank
you for having me.
Thank you. It's now time for our Defining Development segment. Each month we profile different businesses in our community. Here's this month's business.
I want to thank everyone for coming today and joining us celebrate the opening of the Quick Trip in Oakdale. Our goal as a team is to provide everyone the best customer service and offer you a clean and friendly environment. We are committed to brewing you the freshest coffee and providing you great lunch and dinner options for your entire family.
On behalf of the City of Oakdale, I would like to welcome Quick Trip to our community. And this is a site that we have wanted to see redeveloped for quite some time, and what you've done here is beyond expectations. So again, welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
It's almost time for a short break, but first, here's our trivia question. Snow removal is a common activity for all of us in this winter. How long does it take the city to plow our streets after a snowstorm? Is it 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours? We'll have the answer later in the show. It's time for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of Oakdale Update in just a minute. Welcome back to Oakdale Update. Since 1998, the city has presented an Outstanding Volunteer of the Year award to a member of our community who goes above and beyond by offering their time and energy to enhance the quality of life for others. I'm joined now by our latest Volunteer of the Year, Ted Berth. Ted, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update again.
Well, thanks for having me, Frank.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your background and where you're from and what is, what about your family life, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I moved to Oakdale in 1960 when there wasn't very much stuff out here. And started having kids and got involved with athletics. And that's started the Oakdale Athletic Association, mainly because of my kids playing and I needed to have some structure. So that took me into interacting with the city as far as fields and supplies and equipment, and so that's how I got introduced to the city. And in 1974 then I was first elected to the city.
City Council, right?
City Council,
And
yes.
what was that, 74? Okay, and that was in the old Quonset hut, was it?
Oh, that was in the old blue Quonset hut.
Oh, I remember it well.
Yeah, those days everybody smoked, and
Oh, yeah.
there was no ventilation systems,
And the diesel trucks would be parked right next door and
Right
fill the
next
room
door.
with diesel smoke.
and when they started up,
I remember
you
it well.
made the meeting shorter.
God, I remember that. But,
Yeah.
okay, so we digress. But, okay, so anyway, so where did you live before you came to Oakdale?
I lived on Rice Street in St. Paul.
You did. Okay.
And yeah, I went to Washington High School, and then I went to join the Marines, and came back and moved out to Oakdale.
Okay, and you have how many kids?
I had 7. I have 6 left.
Okay. All right, so, okay, so that's how you started getting involved. What else did you do in involvement? You started with the sports, was the first thing, and then the city council, and then what else?
Well, then the park board, started volunteering for that, and enjoyed that because it all related back to athletics and parks and kids. And
Sure.
I was on a community education advisory committee for 10 years. I enjoyed that. And let's see what else. After I got 1996, I believe it was, I joined the Lions Club, and that's been a good experience. That's where you can really, benefit from helping someone. Our Christmas program where we go out and adopt a family is just super. I mean, it's better than buying presents for your own kids.
Sure.
That's worked well. And what else?
Are you a veteran group too, Legion or something?
Yeah, Oakdale Veterans. We finally have our monument done. That went well. It took us 5 years to do that. We've got a little bit of money left to pay on it yet, but we'll get that done.
Okay, and the biggie is the Summerfest. You got involved in the Summerfest.
Yes,
That one has been forever.
Forever, yep.
Start with that
And
one.
that was always been fun. It's the only time you really get to see the people in the city that you don't see the rest of the year. And as long as you can provide, cheap family entertainment, the vendors that come, they do well. They make money. They pay us a fee, so we make money. The carnival is our mainstay. We've got the best carnival in the state.
Well, how many people came last year? It was a pretty good year last year, wasn't it?
Except for Friday night. If you remember Friday night, we had that big storm come
Yes,
through.
yes.
But we're saying we had about 18,000 last year.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, and we'll normally do 20, 22 on a good 4 days, but Friday night really hurt us.
And to think that you started that, absolutely nothing. I mean, it was just kind of an idea. I think it was in your head, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. No, I
No,
can't
somebody
take
else?
credit for the original one.
Okay, all right.
The original one was Russ Hines was involved with the city, and Bob Mitchell. And the first one was held where the current Kmart sits. There was nothing up on that hill,
Big field, yep.
and that's where the first one started. And
So did you tear it from then and start?
no, I didn't get involved actually till a little later.
Okay.
It went from there, and then for a while I joined the JCs too, by the way, and the JCs were running it for a while, and that's when we had the old white building right behind the Quonset hut. They called Harvest Moon in celebration in those days.
Sure.
And that was fun too, but it wasn't anything like what it's now.
I know, it's just huge. But getting it there was pretty much your baby. So,
Well-
but let me ask you this. I happen to know your wife personally, Aggie, and I have to ask you, how does she feel about all this time away that you have spent all these years?
Well, I think she has mixed emotions. Sometimes it's really good to get me out of there, and sometimes she kind of wishes that I'd be there, but it's my wife and my kids have all been my biggest supporters all the years, and
You have to have that
can't
support
do
otherwise.
anything without
Absolutely,
that.
you have to do that. All right, now on a personal level, what does volunteering do to you personally?
Well, the payback is so great that you get more out of it than what you give. It's just a way of life, I think, that people helped me when I was growing up and kept me out of trouble and stuff, and
Sure.
now I try to give that back, and it's really worthwhile. It's whether it's the Lions or whether it's Summerfest or the veterans, it's all the same. It's we just finished our Winter Wonderland again this year with the Oakdale Businessmen, and that's a great. I mean, that's just so much fun to.
That was very successful this year too,
God,
wasn't
it
it?
is. It's growing.
So you volunteered for that too? You helped
Yes.
with that? Did you?
Yeah, my Lions Club, and we provide all the hot chocolate for that,
that's
and we
right.
serve it, and
Yes.
yeah, they can't keep me out of there. That's my job.
Is that right? That's
yeah.
a good one. That was a good one.
Yes,
Jeez.
it is.
But let me ask you this: as you volunteer more for different organizations, you bring some experience into the next organization, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, the way you did one group, geez, that worked here, and so you can kind of bring it to the other group. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you got to learn to delegate, and that you're not always right. That other people are sometimes right, and you got to understand that they're not saying no. They're just saying, well, maybe there's a different way, a better way, and if you can take that in and based on your past experiences, sometimes you actually learn a lot.
Yeah, that's right. And if I might, as a personal note, I noticed that during Summerfest, I noticed every year you gave a little bit more delegation, more people doing different things, and a lot of them did a good job.
Yes,
they
they do.
all did a very good job.
Yes, they do, and
In the part of things, if you did it, you just couldn't stretch yourself far enough. But you appointed very good people.
yes, we have very good people, and I always tell them at the beginning of the year, your job is to make me look good, and they do a great job.
They
at
do,
that.
yeah.
I mean, they are excellent people.
Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. So finally, you became Volunteer of the Year. And I think it was almost 10 years now we've been doing this. And personally, I think you should have been a long time ago, but that's all right. You finally are
That's all right.
acknowledged, right?
Well, at the ceremony, Carmen was saying, we were going to give this to you earlier, but you're always too busy.
I know.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
which is good.
But you joined some good people in that
Yes.
volunteers over the years. A lot of good people.
Yes, and I was really proud to be a part of that nomination process and actually be the winner of that this year. As like you say, there are a lot of people in the city of Oakdale that can qualify for that the same as I do.
Sure. And I think over the years it's going to get even, I mean, there's a lot of people that, to be nominated. And I know I was on the committee, and it's hard to really come up, because there's so many people in Oakdale. It's a very good asset that this community has, don't you think?
Yes, it is. And it ties in the citizens, the businessmen, and everybody
Absolutely.
into one mixture, and that's what's helped the OBPA over these years, too.
Absolutely, yep. Okay, so we're running out of time here, but I have one last question, and that is, how long do you plan on continuing to volunteer?
Probably as long as I'm physically able to.
Are you really? You
yes,
really
because
do?
I enjoy it. And it's kind of a sin to get an award for doing something you like. It's awfully nice to get an award for doing what you like, too.
That's right. Well, that's great to hear that you're going to keep going, because we sure need you. You know, all your experiences and all your time and everything. That's good. Okay, Ted, we're out of time. I want to thank you for joining us, and congratulations on being Volunteer of the Year.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. We're just about out of time, but first let's answer a trivia question. We asked you, how long does it take the city to plow our streets after a snowstorm? The correct answer is C. During an average winter storm, public work crews clear the streets in approximately 12 hours. This is accomplished with 8 truck routes, 4 cul-de-sac routes, 2 lots and alley routes, and 2 sidewalk skating routes. Now that's a real goal, considering the city has over 100 miles of city streets and 175 cul-de-sacs. That's all we have time for. For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching. We leave you this time with some highlights from the recent Winter Wonderland.
Recreation Department's Winter Wonderland. Woohoo! For anybody. Anybody. Free for everybody.
So what are the highlights of the Winter Wonderland?
Highlights, I would say our biggest attraction is Santa and Mrs. Claus there in our exhibit room. As you can see, the line is almost out the door. We have 2 hay rides going on, and new this year we have dog sled rides for kids.
All right.
And then we have our traditional petting zoo, dogs of winter, and of course free food.
Bonfire?
There was a bonfire out there, yes.
Of course, there's face painting.
Face painting and
People doing little art projects.
Arts and crafts for the kids, and some temporary tattoos.
Ooh. So how is it all free?
We have sponsors. Mark Cole from Platinum Bank is part of our sponsor, and Recreation Department pays for it.